Second down 7 at the 25. Couch rolling out of the pocket, sets up, looks, fires over the middle, intercepted! Intercepted at the 45 to Bucky Jones camping under it, and the Patriots forced the first turnover of the game.
And Gus, the Browns were trying to move the pocket. You were going to watch Tim Couch roll out to the right and throw back across the field on a double move route. Initially, he had his receiver open, Morgan, but you see that ball hang up in the air. He took a shot, and there's Bucky Jones to come down with it. Jump ball to Bucky Jones, doing a great job getting the ball at the highest point, just like a rebound in basketball. And we talked about the Browns being more aggressive. Just got to get rid of that ball and give Tim Couch a little more time to put some a little bit more of a line drive on that pass.
So Tom Brady brings the offense out at the 47. First down at 10. They run the reverse. Troy Brown with the blocker, and the play is strung out nicely. And he goes down. Greg Spires with the tackle. And the numbers on Tom Brady last week, 20 of 28, 213 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions, but he's been completing over 70% of his passes over the last 4 games.
Just phenomenal. He does such a great job of spreading that ball around, involving everybody in the offense. It's nice to be able to go to more than just your first read. Tom Brady, it's just been great to see him grow and mature throughout the year, and he really has a lot of confidence back there in the pocket right now.
Second down and 12 from the 45. Here's the pitch to Antoine Smith. Smith turns it up, and Smith goes down at midfield. Offensively for the Patriots, they rank 21st in the league, 18th rushing, 19th passing. Light is the rookie, left tackle Compton, Woody, Andruzzi, and Robinson Randall. The backs and receivers, Antoine Smith is the feature back on his way to a 1,000-yard season. Edwards, Troy Brown, and Patton are the receivers. Rod Rutledge is the tight end. Bill Belichick has put his stamp on this team. They're a power football team as opposed to being a pass-happy squad in the past few years. Third down and 8 from the 49. Here's Brady out of the shotgun, steps up, goes to the sideline, caught. Brown gets close to the first down. Stopped by Corey Fuller on the play, gains 9 yards. Defensively for Cleveland, they lead the NFL in interceptions with 25. Rodgers, Warren, Roy, Greg Spires. Courtney Brown out of the lineup today because of an ankle injury. Meanwhile, the linebackers Rayner in the middle with Rudd and Miller. And in the secondary, Fuller and McCutcheon are on the corners with Earl Little and Devin Bush at safety. First down, New England. Here's the pitch. Antoine over the left side, gets to the 40. Antoine Smith down at the 40-yard line.
And you mentioned Courtney Brown being out. Mark Smith has taken a spot out there at the end, and he's regularly a tackle, and he does a great job, of course, being strong versus that run, but might not have the quickness to get outside. I look for the Patriots to go ahead with that toss. Antoine Smith, a lot of that left side, running behind big tackle Matt Light today, and test Mark Smith, see if he can handle that quickness to the edge.
Second down, 7 from the 39. Kevin Falk in the game now as the single setback. Draw play, Falk. And Falk is down at the 39. Brant Boyer coming up and making the tackle. Tom Brady 7-3 as a starter, and already he's in pretty good company with some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Take a look at this.
Yeah, that's right into the top. You know, a couple of those guys I had an opportunity to play with, and I think that the reason that they're able to accomplish that percentage is you look and you have great vision over the field and you spread the ball around. You're not just focusing on half the field like we see so many quarterbacks look today, or just read one receiver.
Third down, 7 from the 39. They need to go to the 32 for a first down. And the flag on the play.
And guess one of the things that we haven't been able to say this whole year, other than one game.
False start, 77. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
That's Mike Compton.
And one of the things I was saying that we haven't been able to say, and he's only played in one game, Terry Glenn is in the game and back this week with the New England Patriots, and we know what he can do on the field with his speed and receiving ability. He's had some problems off the field, but this creates a tremendous problem for the defense, the speed, and now you can't just focus on Troy Brown. Terry Glenn can hurt you deep.
Glenn, 7 catches, 110 yards in only 1 game this season. Also scored a touchdown, 3rd down 12 from the 44. They set the screen up. Here's Falk trying to get outside, cuts it back inside, breaks a tackle. Now with running room, dives forward and gets to the 35. An 8-yard gain, and he ran about 15 yards.
You know, Gus, I initially thought he had a lane out to the left, and you don't want to question the guy and what he sees on the field. But I thought Kevin Falk had a great job, had a great lane right here, and he cuts it across. I thought he would have had the first down had he stayed left. You see him stop and start and come back across the field. And when you do that, you allow the defense to run back into the play, back into where you're carrying the ball. I think he had that lane, would have at least got the first down had he stayed wide on the left side.
So brings on Adam Vinatieri, who's 15 of 19 on the season, in to attempt a 54-yarder. They get it down, it's up, and good! 54 yards for Adam Vinatieri. And the Patriots get on the board first. 9:41 to go in the first quarter of play. Adam Vinatieri nails a 54-yard field goal. His career long is 55 yards. He had it in 96 against Jacksonville. And the Patriots take a 3-0 lead. Sends it away. Morgan from the 1. Drops it. Picks it up. Morgan now with the seam. Taking it straight up and gets to the 32 before being jumped by Brett Coleman. A 30-yard return. So Adam Vinatieri gives the Patriots the 3-0 lead with the 54-yarder. Would have been good from 60.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Cadillac, the fusion of design and technology. HP PhotoSmart digital camera. How will you use it? And by American Express, wishing you all the best this holiday season.
It's beginning to look a lot like football season here in New England, and the Patriots lead it 3-0. Cleveland takes over, first down and 10 at their own 31. Jackson, the lone setback. Couch looking, firing underneath. The ball caught at the 35, making the 37-yard line. Kevin Johnson with the reception, and it's a gain of 7 yards. Defensively for the Patriots, let's take a look. And Hamilton, Nugent in the starting lineup today, along with Seymour and Pleasant. The linebackers, Teddy Bruschi in the middle, Roman Pfeiffer. Great game last week versus the Jets. Vrabel. And in the secondary, Ty Law, Otis Smith on the corners. Lawyer Malloy to Bucky Jones. Romeo Crennel is the defensive coordinator. 2nd and 3. This time it's Jackson straight ahead, goes backwards. Now this is a very important game, Brent, for the Cleveland Browns. They lost last week at home to Tennessee, but with 6 wins, they still have a chance to get into the playoffs.
And Gus, if they're going to go into the playoffs, it's going to most likely be as a wild card. And when you go ahead and do those tiebreakers, obviously the first one that they do is head-to-head competition. So when these two teams are playing, Cleveland and New England, they've got to be able to come back to that tiebreaker, and that's why Jameer Miller said, hey, if we're going to be in the playoffs, we have to win this game today, because most likely New England's going to be there at the end, and they're going to have to go to that tiebreaker.
A must-win game, a 3rd and 1. Jackson picks up the first down and some. Gain 3 on the play, stopped by Brandon Mitchell. Bodies flying all over the place.
And watch this effort, Gus, by Teddy Bruschi playing middle linebacker. Normally an outside linebacker. He's going to go in there and dive over Aaron Shea. How about Teddy Bruschi getting some air? That would have been a phenomenal stop, but still, that is getting up for the young man, 245 pounds.
He made some heck of a plays last week at the Jets. 1st and 10 from the 44. Couch sets up. Dumps it to Shea over the middle. He gets into New England territory. Shea still running and finally brought down at the 45. Otis Smith had to bring him down, but the big tight end out of Michigan gains 11 yards the hard way.
And Gus, you know how much I like Aaron Shea. We saw him last year. He does a great job of catching that ball and pounding it in there. And look at the determination. And Aaron Shea, they actually have him playing the H-back position where he gets more blocking coming out of that fullback position. But I think he's more of a natural tight end, and he takes a shot right there. And when you're leaning over to the right, that's usually a shoulder or a neck stinger. And he's really, you can feel the pain right there. It's not feeling too good on the sideline.
1st and 10 at the 45. Jackson. And Jackson is taken down for a loss of maybe 2 yards on the play. Mike Grable there to come up and make the tackle. Log on to NFL.com and see why Phil Simms thinks more teams should use the 3-4 defense like the Steelers. Just go to NFL.com or America Online, keyword NFL.com. And Aaron Shea on the sideline, started at tight end last year. They brought in Santiago along with Ricky Dudley. Dudley been out of the lineup for most of the year because of an injury. And he's found kind of a nice spot at that H-back position. 2nd and 12 at the 47. Tip Couch underneath. Northcutt with the catch. And Northcutt is wrapped up at the 37. Teddy Bruschi with the tackle, but another gain of 11 yards. And he's close to the 1st down.
And Northcutt actually caught some balls last week, and that's going to be one of the keys today for the Browns. Tim Couch has got to spread the ball around, a la Tom Brady. He's got to involve more receivers. Usually when you're playing against the Cleveland Browns, it's the Kevin Johnson show and nobody else. You've got to utilize other receivers. It can't just be Kevin Johnson all the time.
So Cleveland calls the timeout. 5:34 to go in the 1st quarter of play. Browns driving, down by 3. New England with a 3-0 lead over the Browns. However, Cleveland has it 3rd down and 1 at the New England 36-yard line. 7th play of the drive that started at their own 31. They need a yard. And this is Jackson straight ahead, picks up the 1st down.
Third down conversions were a big problem for the Browns last week versus Tennessee, and you've got to be able to move the chains, and that's 3rd down, and it's nice to have 3rd and short. We've had that a couple times already in the 1st quarter. Gives you great opportunities where they get into trouble, those 3rd and long situations when they can't protect Tim Couch.
So a 1st down at the New England 34. Santiago in motion. Here's Couch, sprinting out, sets up, looks backside. Now underneath, incomplete. Dennis Northcutt, the intended receiver. Now let's go to New York for an update. Here's Jim Nantz.
All right, thank you, Gus. And we have an update from Minnesota. McNair drives him down the field, 5 for 5. But it's Eddie George, the final 13 yards. 7-0 Titans at the Vikings. And let's go back to Gus and Brent.
Tennessee, are they done?
I don't think so. I think they're sticking their nose right back in the race, and they're starting to get healthy. 5 and 6, cutting strong in December. 10 and 6, I think, gets you in.
They'd have to win out. 2nd and 10 from the 34. Here's Jackson again. A flag on the play. Someone may have jumped offside on the Patriots. That is the case.
And I think it was big Richard Seymour, the nose tackle.
Rookie out of Georgia. He's had a solid season.
Offside, 93, defense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
And he's going to be a big challenge for center Dave Wollabaugh all day. Richard Seymour, 6'6", but plays with great leverage, very strong young man, and he has really been a terror. Not as many sacks, but he does a great job collapsing that pocket and taking up players.
305 pounds, 2nd and 5 at the 29. Jackson crawls forward and gets to the 26. Now let's go back to Jim Nantz in New York.
All right, San Diego and Philadelphia, Gus, and watch this. The magic has been absent from San Diego in recent weeks, but here's Doug Flutie, and Graham plucks it out of the air. He'll take it 61 yards in all to tie the game at 7. McNabb had thrown the touchdown toss earlier for the Eagles. Let's go back now to Gus and Brent.
When you look at that NFC East, that division rather is wide open. Arizona's playing well.